Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I know things about people. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. Don't mind me while I bring my balsa wood gun to an event.
No problem. No problem.
Don't bullets get detected in those things, or am I wrong?
He was so smart, though. He took the bullets and he hid them in like a lucky rabbit's foot keychain. So then they thought it was the keys that were going off. Remember? There's some smart stuff in this movie.
Okay. I take it back.
But we are dorking out about 1993's In the Line of Fire. I believe it was a request, and Margo also thinks that maybe she just really wanted to talk about it. I don't remember who requested it, but we are doing In the Line of Fire. It's directed by Wolfgang Peterson, and it stars Clint Eastwood, John Malkovich, Renee Russo. She looks beautiful in this movie.
As always.
Dylan McDermott, Gary Cole, always the boss from Office Space to me. Yeah, so I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday and protect the president.
He's my second favorite Mike Brady.
That's a good way to describe him, too. We got Fred Dalton Thompson, and I always am happy to see John Mahoney. I love John Mahoney.
R.I.P.
I know, R.I.P. You might know him as Frasier's dad. He's just one of those actors that whenever he shows up, I'm like, oh, I love you, John Mahoney.
He's always good.
Yeah, he's always good. So let's start with this. Did you see In the Line of Fire in the theater?
Yes, I did. It was a very popular film at the time.
Yes.
And it was at a time in my life where I always went to the movies.
Same.
So I saw just about everything, and I was really psyched to see it. And I remember really loving it at the time.
Me too. Same. Mm-hmm. I saw everything back in 93. I was still working at the movie theater. It probably played at my movie theater, which is why I saw it so many times. And what I really remember was Malkovich. Like, John Malkovich is so good in this movie. So Clint Eastwood, so scary. Clint Eastwood is like this grouchy. He's always playing someone grouchy. Clint Eastwood is a grouchy Secret Service agent, and he has just not gotten over the fact that Kennedy was killed on his watch. And Malkovich is this disgruntled CIA agent who is obsessed with killing the current president. He feels betrayed by the government. Don't we all? And he wants to kill the president. And he's kind of obsessed with Clint Eastwood.
He's a fangirl. He's got all the pictures on the wall. Mm-hmm. It's very 90s how they or I guess before the internet, people would take out pictures and post them on their walls of the things that they're into. And a trope is a killer always has the person they want to kill all over their walls.
Just so you know. Just so you know.
Obsession, this guy's yeah. And we should also say that Kennedy was killed, it seems like so long ago it was, but it was only 30 years before.
Right.
Because I'm always like, well, what was he, a teenager? I'm like, no, he's probably about 30 when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I misremembered this because I, for some reason, had it in my head that he was on duty when Reagan got shot. And I was like, dude, Reagan lived. Walk it off. It's fine. But then I was, totally different. Okay, fine. But yeah, I love the cutouts from all the magazines and newspapers up on the wall. And it's like Clint Eastwood's like, oh my God, why are you so obsessed with me?
You must be boring.
You must lead a boring life, John Malkovich, because you're totally obsessed with me. And we'll
get to that later.
Yes, we'll get to that. Renee Russo is a fellow Secret Service agent that doesn't really click with Clint Eastwood right away. He's pretty old and crotchety old man, set in his ways, says sexist things. And we also have Dylan McDermott playing the Dylan McDermott role. He is the rookie who makes the mistake of mentioning his wife and daughter, so you know what's going to happen to him.
he has doomed written all over his face in the first goddamn frame that he's in. He's picking Clint Eastwood up, and Clint Eastwood's hanging out by the bus stop, and he picks him up and goes, "Sorry, I'm late, my kid," and they blah, 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 blah. And Clint's like, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
I should have let the orangutan drive.
Just, any which way but loose. Heard of it?
And then I taught Dylan McDermott to flip people off. That's my Clint Eastwood impression.
Yeah, poor Dylan McDermott. So cute. I think he's on his cutest.
He really is cute. He just I think it's the movie Hot Shots where they have a character that is going to die and you know he's going to die and his name is actually like Fresh Meat or something like, or Dead Meat or something like that. That is Dylan McDermott. He basically shows up and he's like, "I'm married and have a young daughter. I sure hope nothing bad happens to me."
We just signed the mortgage. Oh my God. My wife really hates me doing this for a living, but I said 1 more year and then I'm going to get a transfer. Yes.
Nice life I have here. Be a shame if something was to end it. Poor Dylan McDermott.
Oh, poor thing. It's such a nothing part.
It is such a nothing part, but he wasn't like a really big star at the time. I don't, because he did. Yeah. These are the kind of roles he played, right? He was playing like Julia Roberts' husband and Steel Magnolias and stuff like this. And then he did The Practice and he was like kind of a big TV star for a little while. So this is like pre-Practice, I would say.
Yes.
So Eastwood, hasn't protected a president in a long time, obviously, because Kennedy got shot on his watch. And he comes across like Malkovich. He gets like, I don't know, a landlady calls on him and is like, he's creepy and weird. And then they go in the apartment and that's when they find all these like articles about John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald. And he's upset. Like, why are you so obsessed with me? He's obsessed with Clint Eastwood. So he's kind of pulled back in and now he's going to protect the current president. And that's when he kind of pairs up with Renee Russo, who he immediately mistakes for a secretary because he's a prick who is not used to women being around.
A lady person with a job?
What? She was wearing pants. What?
It's such a 90s suit, too.
Yeah.
Like she has the stockings the same color as the suit.
Yes.
and the sensible shoes. It's just a little flip in the hair.
Yeah. It's adorable, though. Everybody drink.
Yeah.
I would wear my hair like that. In fact, I'm pretty close, actually. Do wear my hair like that. She looks beautiful. Renee Russo.
Please. She's awesome.
She's gorgeous. She's always awesome. Did you and I do an episode together on Major League, or was that pre-you?
It was pre-me.
Okay. That movie's problematic as fuck, just saying. But she's adorable in it. Yeah. Should we just talk about the fact that she's way too young for him?
She's like 30 years younger than him.
Yeah.
Easily. He's also, let's be clear, he is too old for the fucking job. When they have the scene, by the way, the president is the least charismatic president I've ever seen in a movie. I'm like,
you almost made me do a spit take.
I'm just like, we're really all going through all the stress for this yet.
Yeah.
But we're understanding like, oh, he's going like 2 points ahead or whatever. So he's got to go at every public event and he doesn't want to look scared, whatever. So so they have to have the Secret Service like running by with the car as they're going around. I mean, nowadays all the stakes are so much higher and crazier. I always think it's but there's a scene where he's running, and I'm glad they keep it in there. Like he looks like he's about to puke. He's like running next to the car, and it's like what? I'm like can relate. By the way, can relate. Yeah, I would also want to vomit after running a block. I would too. But I mean, he's supposed to be, fit as a fiddle and he's taking it on. And so he's being threatened. So they have all these credible threats that he's going to get shot in a public place. But he's like, I'm behind, I'm not enough ahead in the polls. I've got to keep going out there. So I have to be at these public events. And so John Malkovich is also at the same time pranking Clint Eastwood and just like following him. And there's this, it's like he's pranking him. I mean, he's just going to he's just like, jackassing it. He's giving him a hard time. I love the scene I posted on my Instagram. John Malkovich in a long wig, looked like he's going to go to a fish show. And he's like, he waves to Clint Eastwood and then just runs.
Yeah.
The wig work in this thing, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. But here's a case where it's kind of goofy.
Yes.
But Clint, he gets away from Clint Eastwood. He's always just a step ahead of him. Then we get the scene where he's at a bank and he's like opening an account.
Yes.
Or something. And he makes small talk with this woman behind the desk. And when she says, "Oh, where are you from?" And he says, "Minneapolis." She goes, "Oh, me too. Mm-hmm. Where'd you go to high school?" I'm like, he can't think of one fucking high school to say. Or just say I was homeschooled or,
Totally. That would have been the good answer.
That would have been like, he's that clever, but he completely is like, "Oh, it's Get Back High School." I'm just looking at something on my screen right now. she's like, "What?" And then he sees that she has a dog. And then like, as soon as she follows her home, you're like, "Oh, fuck." He's very chilling in this movie.
He is really creepy. And that scene, it seems out of place with the rest of the movie, but I think it's actually a really important scene because it shows that he is fucked up. And
yes.
He really will do these things. And it sucks and it's scary. Like, he follows her home, he shows up, he does this whole pretense of, I don't really know a lot of people and I thought maybe we could go out, and he comes in and he just full on murders her and like her roommate, and does it like right in front of her dog and doesn't kill the dog. I'm like, well, at least he didn't kill the dog. But like,
yeah,
but it's still, it's awful. It's awful because she was clearly like, she's a nice person. Like, she was trying to make chit chat, and
she's from the Midwest. She looks like she's like salt of the earth, like just a nice human. And he kills her. Yeah. And that's what. And then so Clint Eastwood is basically like, they're playing this cat and mouse game, and at one point. Another time it totally freaking chills me is when he builds his own gun and he's out duck hunting.
Oh, yes.
And he meets these duck hunters and they're like, "Hey, can I play with your gun?" He's like, "Sure." Mm-hmm. And they play with it. And then they're like, "What are you doing with that?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to assassinate the president." Mm-hmm. What? And then takes them out. Yeah. He's really fucking scary.
He's really scary, and sucks to be those dudes.
Boy, does it ever.
Yeah. And that's the stuff that's scary because those people it's random, right? They're not involved in his plot. They're not Clint Eastwood. They're not Secret Service. These are just people that happen to cross his paths, and he full on just blows them away for asking the wrong question. Basically, it's scary. And Malkovich, like, this is like pre-Con Air, or maybe the same year as Con Air. Like, I don't know if Malkovich was known for he played creeps for sure. Like, you watch like a Dangerous Liaisons or something.
Right, I was just gonna say.
Like, but he's so good in this. There's like, he was nominated for an Oscar, and I'll talk about that later in the episode. But he's terrifying in this. I do think the wig and makeup work is a little weird, like you said. Like, to me, he always still looks like John Malkovich.
Yeah, when they have the photos that they show people, and it's like 100 ways to make a Malkovich person, and I'm always like, who could look through all that? And then I love the relationship between him and Renee Russo. I'm saying Clint Eastwood and Renee Russo, not John Malkovich and Renee Russo. I like that he gets to respect her for who she is, and I think they have some natural chemistry.
They do.
I like the scene where they're going to have a tryst in the hotel room, and they're just throwing handcuffs and guns and everything on the floor.
Yeah, they have to take off all their gear, and then she gets a call and has to leave, and he's like, shit, I have to put all the stuff back on. Like, that's funny. And there's like a whole thing with like Clint Eastwood's always like, he doesn't drink anymore, but he's playing the pianos in the bar.
Yeah,
And
Clint Eastwood's really into jazz.
yeah.
Like, he tries to include that in his movies.
Yeah, and there is like a cute scene where like they're talking in the bar and he says something to her like, you know, are you afraid? What are you so afraid of? And she's like, I'm afraid of making a big mistake. And I'm like, girl, run. But she does. Like, she gets up and she leaves. And as she leaves, he plays As Time Goes By, which is from Casablanca. And it's about like another older guy, young, beautiful woman. And like,
Never heard of it.
Never heard it. What? That fucking trash movie? That movie's bullshit. No, I love that movie. Margo knows that. It's like one of my favorites. Casablanca. Nah. I've seen better. But yeah, no, they do have like, he is too old for her. I think Renee Russo probably was paired up romantically with people older than her in a lot of movies in the 90s.
A lot of women are. I mean, she's what, like 34, 35?
Yeah.
And there's no 34 or 35-year-old guy that wants to be cast next to her. They want someone 24, 25.
Right.
That's just how it goes. That's like, it's still like that.
Yeah. But in
I'm
the
sure
movie,
Clint Eastwood was like, I'm not going anybody over 40. I'm sure.
Probably. But it's all because he's a creep. But also, it is relevant to the plot. It is, he is supposed to be older and like one day from retirement, basically. And she's on the way up. So I think it's, the age difference is part of the story, which is why it didn't make my skin crawl like it does in other movies where I'm like, whatever. I mean, I do think that they accelerate the relationship a little bit. Like, he's pretty quick to jump in with like comments that she's in love with
him
and I was like,
right,
you just met.
But this is like the 90s.
Yeah.
They're just fast forwarding through everything. Wolfgang Peterson is the director.
Yes.
And his films always look great.
Yes.
He's a very visual director. And it makes Washington, D.C. look really great.
Yeah. And we've done his movies before. I think he did Air Force One.
Oh, right. We did.
And his movies move. Like, his movies are super watchable. This is an easy movie to watch.
Yes.
You know, I don't sit here and like pick up my phone and start fucking around like I do sometimes with other movies, which I try really hard not to do with our dorking out movies, but sometimes the phone is just calling to me because the movies are so bad. St. Elmo's Fire. I do. So yeah, the age difference is in the script. I mean, the Eastwood character is literally too old for this shit. Just like you would hear in the Lethal Weapon movies. He's 62, I think they said at the time. So, yeah, he's too old for the job. There's a lot of like really interesting things in the movie about the conversations between Eastwood and Malkovich and this idea of the country used to be a special place. You know, it like that like hits me in a different place now than it did in 93. It reminds me a lot of like MAGA, you know.
The last few years.
Yeah. It's just this,
yeah.
You know, we want to make like John Malkovich's character totally wants to make America great again. Like, that's where my head goes when I watch this movie now. But they're also like two sides of the same coin. Like, they both have done some fucked up shit for God and country, you know,
right.
And they both separately feel betrayed by that, but then handle it differently. But yeah, his hat, Malkovich would totally be wearing a red Trump hat now, and that's really scary. That's another thing that just hit me in a different spot on this rewatch.
He's creepy. I also like Clint Eastwood gets away with a lot of bumbling shit and never like gets called out for it. Like, there's a balloon that pops and he's like, God! And, like, freaks everybody out. Like, anybody else would be fired for that.
Yes.
But they keep letting him, because he's the star of the movie, let's be clear.
Yes.
I do like the scene. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I like the scene where he's talking with Renee Russo and they're looking out the window and he's just talking about what it was like that day. It was such a pretty day and just one moment can change your whole life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. They're holding hands at the end. I did kind of like that. I thought that was real.
Yeah, that was a good moment too, for sure. What do you think about Clint Eastwood's performance in this movie?
Oh, I think he's great. I think is he really acting? I mean, he's got a lot of attitude.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of like, I want to look good. I want to look cool. I want to play the piano.
Mm-hmm.
I want to kiss a pretty girl.
Yeah.
And I want to be a hero in the end. I'm okay looking flop sweaty sometimes.
Yeah.
You can make me run and trip and fall. I'm okay with that. But in the end, I have to win.
This was one. Okay, I just had to look it up because this was like 1 year after Unforgiven, which is really, really great. Like, I super love that movie. And rewatching this movie, I feel like it's been a long time since Clint Eastwood has made a movie where he even smiled. To be fair, I haven't seen a couple of his most recent movies, but I feel like there were some moments in here where he actually smiled or made jokes, and it had been so long since I had seen Clint Eastwood do such a thing that it like threw me off guard.
I think it did for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm.
Yeah.
We do have the Dylan McDermott scene, by the way.
Oh, we have to get to that. I did want to jump in on something else you said, which is that Frank, that's the Clint Eastwood character, is not a very good Secret Service agent.
He stands out like a sore thumb. In every situation.
Yeah, he was working when Kennedy got shot. So, all right, let's put that one aside. A pretty big mistake when it's literally your job to protect the president and that happens. But okay, just throughout this thing, like you said, there's like the balloon popping and he yells gun. And there's like, 2 times he has a chance to kill Malkovich and he doesn't do it.
He doesn't do it.
You know, and it results in like the death of dead Meek McDermott. Like
dead Meek McDermott. When he dies, it's so upsetting. I mean, it should be upsetting. He's a young man. He has a family. But at the same time, you're like, Jesus Christ, movie. I mean, you sent this to me like at the beginning of the goddamn show. I mean, you know, it's so, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's messed up. It's super messed up. I honestly, like, you know it's coming because, like I said at the beginning, he's like, my wife, my kid, and you're like, oh, that's right. I forgot you're gonna die. But it's still upsetting when it happens, and
yeah,
you don't want that to happen. But like I said, they telegraphed it, so, and he goes in such a shitty way. And he's like, I got him, Frank. Bam. Brr. Dur.
Wah, wah, wah.
Could you imagine if that was really the music cue?
Oh,
dun 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 dun. Sad trombone music from The Price is Right. Dur.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. And then we get to the big event. Is it in Los Angeles? That's where it's the big celebrity event. It's a big event for the president. And Clint Eastwood's on thin ice.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sure if they could trust him.
Yeah,
but John Malkovich
still doesn't lose his job, by the way.
Still doesn't. John Malkovich walks right the fuck by him, doesn't see it.
Well, in his defense, he is wearing glasses.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. He got some hair plugs. Okay. But he just shows up and then he walks right through and then they're going into this big dinner. And that's when Clint Eastwood figures out who he is. And there's this big shootout and then everybody's screaming. And then it's also an elevator sequence. And I do like an elevator sequence. I like a glass elevator in an atrium kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because those things terrify me.
Just for sure.
I fucking hate them. So there's that whole thing. But he basically, spoiler, he kills Booth.
Yeah.
And finally.
But actually, he doesn't really. Yeah. He asks Malkovich to grab his hand, and then Malkovich is like, peace out, and like doesn't grab his hand and falls to his death. So he doesn't technically kill him, but he didn't try really hard to save him either.
No.
Yeah. Did you like that version? Take my hand. Peace out.
I wish he did peace. I wish he, like, under his shirt, he was wearing that fish outfit again. That fish t-shirt under that suit. Puts the long
you don't understand, man. It was supposed to be me and you, man.
I mean, but then Clint Eastwood is so famous now. He's like a famous social. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Secret Service agent.
Secret Service guy. It's too many S's. He's a famous one, so he can't really do the job anymore. And he should have been, retired at this point, clearly.
Right. Yeah. So then there's this thing about like she's staying and like going to be moving up, and he's not going to work. And he does say like at one point, because he started drinking after Kennedy was killed, like his wife left him and took their daughter, and he said that he would never let himself like get in the way of a good woman again, or something to that effect. So now it's like he's just going to support her, I guess, while she climbs the corporate ladder, the Secret Service ladder, which is fine. I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with it. I mean, they seem like a nice couple.
She seems like a good Secret Service agent. She's pretty on it.
Catch for him. Yeah.
She is a good catch for him. He's so lucky.
Yeah, but they have the last scene together. They're hanging out at the Washington Monument, like the same place they were when he was flirting with her over ice cream. Yes. And like, I'm going on a date tonight. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you're going to be thinking about me the whole time. No, I'm not.
But she was.
But she was.
Mm-hmm. And he took her to ice cream because that's where you take kids on a date.
You can take me on a date for ice cream. I love ice cream. That's not too cheap for me. I think this movie is very watchable.
It is.
I think and I really enjoyed it back in the day. I mean, it's just before the internet and before, cell phones and, everything changes. I mean, but I think even though it's dated in that way, I think in other ways it looks great. Mm-hmm. And I think it's smart, pretty smart.
I think so too. And we're teasing about like the costumes and stuff like that, but like it is actually a really entertaining movie. The Malkovich character is pretty smart. Like, how he gets into see the president and how close he gets, it's pretty smart. Like, it's good.
He's evil, and he's really truly evil and bad. Yeah. He's a scary bad guy.
Yeah, and a movie like this needs that so bad, and he fucking delivers. Who do you think would win in a fight, John Malkovich in this movie or John Malkovich in Con Air?
That's a good question. That proposes that I remember anything about Con Air except Nicolas Cage's hair.
This hair is amazing.
Amazing hair.
Yes.
I'm going to call it a draw. I think they're pretty even. What do you think?
I'm going to say I think Malkovich in The Line of Fire would win. Yeah. He's a little smarter.
He'll kill a person in front of their German Shepherd. Like he'll go for it.
He'll fuck you up. He'll full on murder you in front of your dog and make your dog watch.
But he can't remember, like, honest to God, all he says is Minnesota, and she's like, me too! And it's like, you can't think of one fucking lie to get you out of the...
Also, like, is it Minnesota or Minneapolis? I forget, because I'm like, it's...
Yeah, I think Minneapolis, but still.
Oh, okay, yeah, still, like, but she knows every high school there? Come on. You could have said Minneapolis High School.
Yeah.
Homeschooled, anything.
Homeschooled. I mean, that would be, maybe they didn't have that back then, but I would have just said, I don't know. Or just said, but my dad moved a lot, so.
Yeah, or I moved away before high school, or.
Yeah, I mean, literally anything else other than looking at it like, what the fuck you asked me that for? You know?
I love that. Fuck it. This movie sucks just because of that one part.
Yeah, no.
Deal breaker.
It just makes me, because the very next scene is she's at home with her dog.
Yeah.
And then this guy is in the front fucking door.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Oh, it gives me the creeps.
Yeah. That scene's going to live with me.
Yeah.
I'm going through my notes. I want to make sure. We get all the taunting playing in the piano bar. A lot of his like reasoning about why he wants to kill the president and how he's willing to die to kill the president. I'm just like, it's fucking scary to me. Once again, Eastwood not a really good Secret Service agent because he's clearly not willing to die to protect the president.
No.
which apparently is a huge.
Flinches.
Yeah, it seems like a really big part of the job is willing to throw yourself in front of that bullet. And yeah, he has a couple opportunities to do so and does not. And when he does, he's wearing a bulletproof vest, which, by the way, yeah, they should all be wearing bulletproof vests all the time, including Dead Meat McDermott. He would be alive right now if he had been wearing a bulletproof vest. I did look up a few other people who were almost cast in the movie. Would you like to hear it?
Of course.
Okay. No, forget it. Okay, well, what else are you dorking about? Robert De Niro apparently was approached to play the Malkovich role.
He would have been good.
Yeah. I'm like, De Niro does crazy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he is crazy.
Robert Duvall.
He'd be good.
Yep. Jack Nicholson.
Of course.
Yeah, dude, all those dudes can play crazy. Other people that were originally going to play Eastwood's role, Dustin Hoffman. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snicker when I said that. It's just
I'm snickering because I can't picture Dustin Hoffman running beside a car.
I don't think Dustin Hoffman is who you go to protect you in any way whatsoever. He doesn't have that vibe about him.
He would whine his way out of it.
He just like talks the assassin's ear off.
He would just start complaining.
Are you trying to shoot the president, Mrs. Robinson?
Where's there a pool I could just jump into?
What's that gun made out of? Plastics. Other people for that role, Gene Hackman. I'm like, yeah, he could have played that role. Tommy Lee Jones. Obviously, Tommy Lee Jones.
But he's as scary as Malkovich.
He is. And then here's a few more. Val Kilmer was considered for Eastwood's role. He wouldn't have been old enough.
No, I was like, what did he protect Kennedy with, like a little water gun when he was like 8?
Oh no! I sprayed your shirt, Mister.
Look out for the book tower.
They would have to. I like your version better. It's Secret Service Junior. Other people for. I'm sorry. Here's a few more for Malkovich's role. Ed Harris.
I love me some Ed Harris.
Me too. And then Willem Dafoe.
I like Willem Dafoe.
Me too. I'm like, all of those people would have been good except for Dustin Hoffman.
Bless his heart.
And then for Renee Russo's role, two other names were bandied around, is Glenn Close. And I'm like,
she's too smart.
She'd never hook up with that guy.
She would be like, fuck you. Or she'd just have at him and then dump him.
I like that version. Yeah. And then Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
This would have been, this would have been like Basic Instinct time. I'm like, I don't want to say that like Renee Russo isn't awesome and beautiful and sexy, because she is. And if you haven't seen Thomas Crown Affair, please do. But I feel like Sharon Stone just kind of is super sexy all the time. And I don't know if she would have been believable as a CIA agent.
I'm trying to think of the Billy Baldwin movie that we
Sliver
with Adam Risky.
Movie's so bad.
Oh God, that was a fun one to talk about.
It was. So instead of other movies that were out that year, I thought you'd like to hear who Malkovich was nominated against for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Also, by the way, he was nominated for Best Villain at the MTV Movie Awards.
Those awards get things right sometimes.
Sometimes they do. He did not win. Actually, here, I'll tell you the other people nominated for that, too. So he was nominated for In the Line of Fire. Macaulay Culkin was nominated for The Good Son.
Yeah, he was creepy in that.
So creepy. Wesley Snipes for Demolition Man.
That's not a great movie.
Mm-mm. The T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
That's a great villain.
I'm like, it's a really
with
good
its little
villain.
arms.
Yeah. I can't reach you. And then the winner was Alicia Silverstone for The Crush.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted her to show up.
100%. So nominated for Best Supporting Actor against John Malkovich was Leonardo DiCaprio for What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
He's good in that.
He's good in that. Ray Fiennes for Schindler's List.
He's fucking spooky in that movie.
He's so good in that movie. And then Malkovich, and then Pete Postlethwaite. Thank you, from In the Name of the Father.
Yeah, that's a fucked up movie.
It's hilarious.
No, yeah, it's a real laugh riot.
No. And then the winner, we've talked about this, Tommy Lee Jones for The Fugitive.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
He's really, really good.
He's great in that movie.
Yep, I agree.
If you can hear a buzzsaw, they're selling Christmas trees across the street. So.
Aw, it's beginning to sound a lot like Christmas.
Like Christmas. Do you want to hear some of the top songs of 93?
You know I do.
We've covered this year quite a few times, so I'm trying to pick the ones we haven't mentioned before, but I'm not sure how successful I was. Mariah Carey, Dream Lover.
I love that song. I love Mariah Carey songs. They're great.
She's awesome. Snow, Informer.
Oh, God. He wants to lick you boom, boom down.
Yeah. Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G Thing.
Oh, you couldn't get away from that song. It's so good.
Yeah. The Proclaimers. There's another one. I'm going to be 500 miles.
That was an earworm.
Oy. This is one of my favorite songs of all time. Duran Duran, Ordinary World.
Such a good song.
Such a great song. Ace of Base, All That She Wants.
Another band that you just couldn't get away from.
Yeah. And The Heights. How do you talk to an angel?
The Heights. Did you watch The Heights?
No, of course not. It's terrible.
I watched one episode of The Heights and I was like, that's good. I'm good. I got it.
Yeah. It was about a band. You know, they can't, television for some reason, except for the Monkees, they can't do a fake band very well.
Mm-mm. No, was it like a spinoff of 90210? Or was it just,
feels
actors?
like it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I just couldn't
It was like Melrose adjacent. And it was like 5 people. And I think the guy that beat up Donna Martin.
Yes.
He played the singer in the band.
That's right. Thank you. That's the context I was looking for.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. It was Ray. Ray, the guy that beat up Donna Martin. Unacceptable. Fuck that guy.
Donna Martin graduates.
Donna Martin graduates. Surely there's a band that's called Donna Martin graduates. I would like to buy your t-shirt.
Every once in a while I see somebody in that t-shirt and I crack up. It does bring back memories.
I'm just going to start yelling at events and see if I could get other people to join me. What else are you dorking out about, Margo?
I'm currently obsessed with the Beatles Get Back, and it's Peter Jackson. There's hundreds of hours of footage of the Beatles for the last couple of albums that they worked on. And they were going to do a TV special, and they started January 2nd, 1969. And at the end of the month, they recorded in that time some of the best songs, you've ever heard. And it was at a time when they supposedly hated each other and they were all mad at each other, and Yoko's bringing them apart and Linda Eastman's breaking them apart, all this stuff. Anyway, it's the episodes are in, I think, like week by week they're doing it. So It's the last week of the month. They're on, spoiler, they're up on a rooftop in London, and it was a big deal. and they're a couple of hours each, and I am completely obsessed. I love it so much. If you are a person that's a writer, a creator of any kind, painter, whatever your art is, this is something you need to watch, because you just have to watch an artist, like how they make something great. And it's just through work. You just have to work at it. And even these people who are at the best at their abilities have to work at it. And to see them, they're all so young. They're like not even 30.
Oh and gosh.
They've been so successful, and there's so much love there between them. You know, they're like brothers, and it's to see Linda and Yoko hanging out together. I mean, it's just like, for me, it's like a big warm hug. I mean, I grew up on Beatles music. This was like my favorite music, and I'm super enjoying it. I've been posting a lot on Instagram because I can't stop watching it. I think this is going to be like Avengers Endgame. Like, I watched that over and over again when I got Disney. This is going to be a new one. And I'll probably watch it all through the holidays. It's just, and Paul, all of them are so handsome and cute. But yeah, Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've seen pictures. I've never heard of the Beatles, so I don't.
Yeah, I know. Little known band. And every once in a while somebody says to me, I don't really like them. I'm more of the Beach Boys. I'm like, whatever.
I'm like, ew.
Yeah. Yeah, you like a bunch of like, it's terrible because it's like a bunch of people with like, you know, who were abused as children, who just like, who don't have, I don't know. The Beach Boys, I love their music. And of course, Brian Wilson's a genius and all that, but I don't get nearly as much joy as I do from the Beatles.
Right.
There's just this silliness about them, in addition to their greatness. That's what's fun about them.
Yeah. The Beach Boys aren't my jam. They're fine. They're fine. I love the Beatles too. We were talking about this before we start recording. I'm definitely going to dig in and I'm going to start watching it. Apparently I had to watch what I'm dorking out about first. Like, it's so, way more important that I finish The Real Housewives Ultimate Girl Trip than watch.
There's 3 more left.
Than watch a documentary about one of the greatest bands of all time. No, I need to see what Ramona's gonna do this week. Like, what an asshole. I'm such an asshole.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. I don't want to step on your toes. Is there anything else about Get Back other than
No, that's
where's
it
streaming?
Disney Plus.
Okay. I'm going to start watching that tonight because, as we were saying earlier, Hard Day's Night is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is like a comfort movie, and I'm really looking forward to watching this. So I will do it. Yeah, Margo turned me on to the Housewives in general. Like, I was like, I'm not watching that, and then got totally sucked into the Real Housewives of New York and started watching Salt Lake City. And then yesterday we were doing our What a Creep, and you mentioned Real Housewives Ultimate Girl Trip, and I was like, I'll watch one. 5 hours later, I watched every single episode that was up. No, there's 5 episodes as of this recording, and this show is stupid fun. It is so fun. I don't know most of these people, by the way, because I watch New York and they have like 2 people. It's basically like an all-stars. They've taken like a couple women from each one of the franchises and they send them to this gorgeous villa on some tropical island. And they're all bitches to each other, basically, especially one of them, especially Ramona from New York. She's the fucking worst. She's got to be the worst. Is she the worst of all the housewives?
She's pretty bad. She's usually number 1. There's a woman called Kelly Dodd on Orange County who didn't believe in COVID. And this is like just when it started. Mm-hmm. She married a guy at Fox News. Oh, and they were, this is like way early in the pandemic, and they were like deniers. She's pretty horrible. I mean, there's different levels. Ramona is just like that narcissistic nightmare, and there's not one good story about her, but she's watchable. It sucks because it's like, but she is. I think this is her last hurrah in the housewife world because she's like 65.
Oh, she's losing it. She's losing it here.
Yeah, she's losing it. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
She's, can't control. She like can't handle her booze. She's literally peeing her pants at one point. Like, she's losing her mind.
There's a trip that she and Luann from New York, where they went to Cartagena, and they stayed at a nice hotel, and the women ate something that didn't agree with them, and almost every single one of them shit the bed, including Ramona and Lou.
That is awful.
And they just left it behind.
No,
and
so awful.
Lou walks out and just goes, I left a present for you guys, and walks out. These women are monsters.
They are. They're
monsters, but that's what's captivating. I know. And Teresa from New Jersey, who went to jail and everything.
Yes.
She's coming across like really sweet. In comparison.
Yeah, in comparison, she's coming across really nice. Kyle Richards, is that right? She's coming across really nice in this. She's like trying so hard to like broker the peace with people, and her Ramona impression is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
It is enjoyable to watch. Like I said, I'm like, well, I have to see what happens. Next one. 5 hours later, I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking midnight, and I'm still watching Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip because it is entertaining. The location is gorgeous. I'm like,
it's Turks and Caicos.
It is vacation porn for sure.
Yeah.
And these women, they are, for the most part, really beautiful. Teresa is coming across really sweet, but she's just fucking dumb. She's so dumb.
Oh, she's so stupid.
She's so like the whole thing where like Ramona's like, she's like the scarecrow, if she only had a brain. And then someone tells
Teresa didn't understand.
Yeah, she was like, huh? Well, she's like the Tin Man because she doesn't have a brain.
She was really confused by that analogy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Ramona was just like, I think she was trying to say World War II, and she kept saying Third World II or something. Like, she's so stupid. They're all like, almost all of them are so dumb.
Yeah.
But it is so enjoyable. So thank you, Margo, for that recommendation. It was exactly what I needed.
It's brain candy. It's just brain candy. Just let it happen.
Yes.
Just let it do its thing. Yeah. And what about Lou flirting with the guy who's married, by the way?
I don't approve.
No.
Mainly on that dude. Like, I'm not faulting Luann, who, by the way, is coming across also very well on this.
Yeah, it's a bit of redemption for her.
Yeah, you said one time on your Best Neighbors podcast, Vacation Luann is the best Luann.
Yes.
100%. Like, she is a good sport who... She is not drinking, by the way. I don't know how she's making it through this trip, not drinking.
And how amazing does she look? She's like 56.
She looks amazing. And she's
got like a teenager's body.
Yeah. And she's so athletic, right? Like she's just always like jumping in the pool and like doing these crazy like jackknife dives. And like, I'm younger than her and I'm like, I can't do shit. I can't do any of that stuff. She looks amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it, but they're all, there's a scene where they're playing Twister and they like the married guy who's like managing the whole house, basically.
The concierge.
Which
Ramona didn't know how to pronounce either.
the concierge. It's so good. As someone who mispronounces everything, I love it. Yeah, he like puts a shot in his mouth, like of non-alcoholic shot, because Luann's not drinking, and has her like take it from his mouth. And I'm like, dude, you're married. It's inappropriate. Yeah. And I did love the response of all the married women on the trip. They're like, that was my husband. I'll beat his ass. Like they were not having it. It's not Luann's fault. It's his fault. He's married. But it's just super fun. I texted my sister about it and she's like, is anyone from OC on there? And I was like, maybe next time. Sorry, Michelle.
Well, so the next one they're going to do, which will come out in the winter, it's Bluestone Manor, which is Dorinda from New York.
Oh, yeah.
She has a place up in the mountains in the Catskills, and they have crazy women for that one, and they're stuck in this manor. So that'll be interesting to see.
That's the one with the fish room, right?
Yeah, with the fish room, exactly. You know your stuff. The fucking fish room that Luann hated.
I'm not sleeping in the fish room. Who did they get for that one? Do you know?
They have Vicky from OC. They have Tamara from OC. There's a couple of people that were fired.
Okay.
And they're desperate to be back on the show again, so they're showing up. And Dorinda was fired.
I was just going to say, like, Dorinda. So this is all, like, housewife rejects?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they drink. These women really drink.
Yeah.
So they just go nuts. And it's just fun watching silly, rich women in their 50s and 60s make really bad choices. Like, that's just... That's kind of it.
I don't know how they drink the way they drink on these shows.
Some of them, I don't know how they get out. And some of them get out of bed in the morning and just like have a cup of coffee and they're fine. Like,
and they do yoga. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
It would take me all weekend to recover from the way they drink. I don't understand it. It's crazy. But it is, like I said, insanely watchable.
It's on Peacock, you guys.
Yes. It was worth it. It's worth the price.
Yep.
So thank you for that recommendation, Margo.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that.
I had a feeling once.
Thanks for that time waster.
I had a feeling like once you watch one, you're just going to okay, I have to find out what happens next.
That's exactly
like you just
what
have to hit the next one. Yeah.
I was bummed when I got to 5 and finished it. And I was like, what? We're 6. We're like tapping my arm where like, you just inject it right into my veins, Peacock Network. It's good. Oh, this was fun. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
You could find me on social media at Brooklyn Fitchick, and my site is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, and I'd like to think you do because you made it this far, we co-host another podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps from the past and the present, not the future. We're not there yet, but past and present. And then we end every episode with someone who's not a creep, so you don't think the whole world is a dumpster fire. And it's super fun. So please listen. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And if you would like some stickers for Dorking Out Show, you can email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. You've been sending your requests. We love requests. So please, like, email your requests, tweet your requests. You can find us at Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. I don't check it that often, but you can. And if you like the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us find our people. Thank you so much, Margo, for talking about In the Line of Fire with me. This was super fun.
It was so much fun. This was so much fun. I'm going to whittle my own little gun now.
That's not creepy at all. I'm going to put on these glasses and pretend I'm in a